Welcome back to Empowerment Library. Today, we're diving into a book that doesn't teach you how to earn more. It teaches you how to think differently about money, and that's way more powerful. The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel reveals how our behavior, not our bank balance, is what shapes long-term wealth. Because it's not about spreadsheets or stock tips. It's about emotions, mindset, patience, and the choices we make when no one's watching. If you've ever wondered why smart people make dumb money decisions, or how you can build lasting wealth without being rich, this book is your goldmine. Let's explore the real reasons behind financial success, and how to make money work for you, not stress you out.
Introduction to The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. Morgan Housel's The Psychology of Money is not a traditional finance book filled with investment formulas or get-rich-quick schemes. Instead, it explores how people's behaviors, emotions, and personal experiences shape their financial decisions, often more than technical knowledge does. Housel argues that doing well with money has less to do with intelligence and more to do with behavior. He illustrates this through real-world stories, psychological insights, and historical examples, showing how luck, risk, greed, and personal biases influence financial outcomes. Key themes in the introduction: behavior over knowledge. Financial success isn't about being the smartest but about being patient, disciplined, and emotionally resilient. The role of luck and risk. Many financial outcomes are shaped by random chance. Yet people often attribute success solely to skill. No universal right way. People's financial decisions are deeply personal, shaped by their upbringing, culture, and experiences. The power of stories. Humans think in narratives, not statistics, which is why financial myths and misconceptions persist. Housel sets the stage for a book that is less about what to do with money and more about how to think about it. The lessons are timeless, emphasizing humility, long-term thinking, and the understanding that financial decisions are never purely rational.
Chapter 1: No One's Crazy. Morgan Housel explains that everyone views money through the lens of their own life experiences. What may seem irrational to one person can feel perfectly logical to another, based on how they grew up, what they've seen, and what they've struggled with financially. A person raised in poverty will think about risk, saving, and spending very differently from someone born into wealth. Housel emphasizes that our financial behavior is not always rooted in facts or formulas. It's deeply emotional and shaped by our personal stories. This means we shouldn't be too quick to judge others' financial choices. Instead, we must understand that every financial decision is a reflection of perspective, not necessarily logic. To grow financially, we must recognize our own biases and accept that others aren't crazy, they're just living a different money story.
Chapter 2: Luck and Risk. Morgan Housel emphasizes that financial outcomes are often influenced by factors beyond our control. Success doesn't always come purely from skill, and failure isn't always due to poor decisions. Luck and risk play powerful, invisible roles. He uses real-life examples like Bill Gates' unique opportunity to access a computer in high school to show how rare circumstances can shape success. At the same time, people can do everything right and still fail because of bad luck. Housel argues that we must be humble when judging others or our own outcomes. Instead of copying individuals, we should focus on broad patterns of behavior that generally lead to success. Recognizing the roles of luck and risk helps us make smarter, more forgiving decisions with money and life.
Chapter 3: Never Enough. Morgan Housel explores the dangerous trap of endless desire, where no amount of money ever feels sufficient. He shares the story of wealthy individuals who risk everything, even when they already have more than enough, because of greed or comparison. The pursuit of more can blind us to what truly matters: peace, freedom, and contentment. Housel warns that without defining what enough looks like for ourselves, we can fall into a cycle of chasing status or validation. He emphasizes the importance of setting boundaries and resisting the urge to always compete. True wealth isn't about having everything, it's about knowing when you have enough. In the end, understanding and respecting your enough is one of the most powerful financial skills.
Chapter 4: Confounding Compounding. Morgan Housel highlights the extraordinary power of compounding and how its impact is often underestimated because it grows slowly, then suddenly. He illustrates this through the example of Warren Buffett, whose vast fortune is largely the result of investing consistently over decades, not just making brilliant stock picks. The real magic of compounding lies in patience and time, not complexity. Housel explains that most people fail to appreciate this because we're wired to seek quick results. In truth, small gains sustained over long periods create massive outcomes. The key lesson is that endurance and consistency matter more than short-term brilliance. Understanding compounding changes how we view savings, investing, and success itself.
Chapter 5. Getting Wealthy versus Staying Wealthy. Morgan Housel explains that the skills required to build wealth are very different from those needed to keep it. Getting rich often involves taking risks, being bold, and seizing opportunities. But staying rich demands humility, caution, and a healthy fear of loss. Many people lose their fortunes by assuming past success guarantees future safety. Housel stresses the importance of traits like frugality, paranoia, and flexibility in preserving wealth over time. He also highlights that survival, just staying in the game, is the ultimate financial strategy. The ability to avoid ruin is more valuable than the ability to score big. In short, wealth is not just about growth, it's about endurance.
Chapter 6. Tails You Win. Morgan Housel reveals that in finance and in life, a small number of events often account for the majority of outcomes. These rare, extreme outcomes, called tail events, drive success far more than average, everyday decisions. He explains that companies like Amazon and investors like Warren Buffett succeeded not by getting everything right, but by benefiting massively from a few big wins. Housel urges readers to accept that failure and losses are normal, and not every decision has to be perfect. The key is to stay in the game long enough to catch those rare, life-changing opportunities. Most things don't matter, but a few things matter a lot. Understanding this helps us focus on long-term potential instead of short-term perfection.
Chapter 7. Freedom. Morgan Housel argues that the greatest form of wealth is the ability to control your own time. More than luxury or status, true freedom means waking up and doing what you want, when you want, with people you choose. He emphasizes that money should be used as a tool to gain autonomy, not just to buy things. Many people chase high-paying jobs or impressive lifestyles, only to feel trapped by schedules, stress, and lack of control. Housel explains that even a modest income, if paired with flexibility, can offer more happiness than vast wealth with no freedom. Time is the ultimate currency, and having control over it is the highest dividend money can pay. Pursuing freedom over excess leads to a more fulfilling life.
Chapter 8. The Man in the Car Paradox. Morgan Housel explains a powerful illusion. When we see someone driving an expensive car, we admire the car, not the person. Ironically, the driver often hopes the car will make others respect them, but people are usually too focused on the object, not who owns it. Housel calls this the paradox. We chase luxury to impress others, but rarely get the admiration we expect. True respect comes from humility, kindness, and character, not displays of wealth. He suggests that using money to quietly improve your life brings more happiness than trying to impress. Status is often rented, not owned. The lesson is to value internal fulfillment over external validation.
Chapter 9. Wealth is what you don't see. Morgan Housel explains that real wealth is often invisible. It's the money not spent, the investments quietly growing, and the financial security built over time. While flashy purchases and luxury lifestyles may look like signs of wealth, they usually reflect spending, not saving. People often judge financial success based on visible cues, but true wealth is hidden in restraint, discipline, and long-term thinking. Housel emphasizes that saving money is the gap between your ego and your income. The more you save instead of show, the wealthier you become. Real financial strength lies in what's kept, not what's flaunted. This chapter urges us to look beyond appearances and value financial independence over social image.
Chapter 10. Save Money. The author emphasizes the importance of saving as a means to achieve financial independence and security. Housel argues that saving is not merely about accumulating wealth but about creating options and flexibility in life. He highlights that saving money allows individuals to weather unforeseen circumstances and take advantage of opportunities that arise. The chapter underscores that the ability to save is often more crucial than investment returns, as it provides a buffer against risks and uncertainties. Housel also suggests that the habit of saving should be prioritized over income levels, asserting that anyone can save regardless of their financial situation. Ultimately, the chapter advocates for a mindset shift where saving becomes a fundamental aspect of one's financial strategy, empowering individuals to control their futures.
Chapter 11, Reasonable, Rational. Morgan Housel explores the idea that financial decisions should prioritize what is reasonable over what is purely rational. He argues that while rationality involves making decisions based solely on numbers and logic, reasonableness takes into account human emotions, behavior, and the unpredictable nature of life. Housel emphasizes that a reasonable approach to finance acknowledges the limits of human understanding and the complexities of personal circumstances. He highlights the importance of aligning financial strategies with individual values and goals, recognizing that what works for one person may not work for another. The chapter advocates for a more compassionate view of financial decision-making, where understanding personal motivations and emotions can lead to more sustainable and fulfilling financial habits. Ultimately, Housel encourages readers to embrace a balanced perspective that values both logic and human experience in their financial journeys.
Chapter 12, Surprise. Morgan Housel discusses the unpredictable nature of life and finance, emphasizing that surprises are inevitable and can significantly impact financial outcomes. He illustrates that many of the most significant financial events, whether positive or negative, come as unexpected surprises that defy rational forecasting. Housel highlights the importance of being adaptable and resilient in the face of these surprises, urging readers to prepare for uncertainty rather than cling to rigid financial plans. He also points out that our ability to navigate surprises is often more crucial than our financial knowledge or investment strategies. The chapter reinforces the idea that while we can plan for the future, we must remain open to the unexpected and learn to respond effectively. Ultimately, Housel encourages a mindset that embraces flexibility and acknowledges the limits of our understanding, allowing for a more robust approach to managing money in an unpredictable world.
Chapter 13, Room for Error. Morgan Housel emphasizes the importance of incorporating a margin of safety into financial decisions. He argues that uncertainty is a fundamental aspect of life, and having room for error allows individuals to withstand unforeseen challenges and fluctuations in the market. Housel discusses how this principle applies not only to investments but also to budgeting, savings, and financial planning. By allowing for variability in predictions and assumptions, individuals can create more resilient financial strategies that can adapt to unexpected circumstances. He underscores that maintaining flexibility and avoiding overcommitment is essential for long-term success. The chapter encourages readers to embrace a conservative approach to financial planning, recognizing that room for error can lead to better outcomes and reduce stress in an unpredictable world. Ultimately, Housel advocates for a financial mindset that prioritizes caution and adaptability over rigid perfectionism.
Chapter 14, You'll Change. Morgan Housel discusses how personal growth and changing life circumstances affect financial decisions. He emphasizes that what feels important now may not matter in the future. Because values and goals evolve, financial plans should remain flexible. Unexpected events like job changes or shifts in interests can reshape priorities. Housel urges readers to regularly reassess their goals and strategies. Embracing change, rather than resisting it, leads to better long-term financial outcomes. Ultimately, adapting to change is key to building a life of lasting financial well-being.
Chapter 15, titled Nothing's Free, Morgan Housel explains that everything in finance comes with a cost, even if it's not immediately visible. He argues that many people want rewards without acknowledging the price, be it risk, volatility, stress, or uncertainty. These costs, while sometimes hidden, are the price of admission to long-term wealth and financial success. Housel emphasizes that rather than trying to avoid these costs, successful investors accept and prepare for them. He compares financial discomfort to paying a fee rather than a fine, something expected, not something to be avoided. Understanding and embracing these trade-offs helps people stay committed to their financial plans during turbulent times. Ultimately, the chapter teaches that recognizing and accepting the true costs of wealth is key to achieving it.
Chapter 16, You and Me. Morgan Housel explains that people make different financial decisions based on their unique goals, timelines, and life experiences. What seems irrational to one person may be perfectly reasonable to another. He highlights how personal context shapes how we interpret financial advice and market behavior. For example, a day trader and a long-term investor view the same data very differently. Housel cautions against judging others' choices or copying strategies that don't fit our own lives. Instead, he encourages aligning financial decisions with personal values. Respecting this diversity leads to more thoughtful and effective money management.
Chapter 17, titled The Seduction of Pessimism, Morgan Housel explains why pessimistic views often seem more convincing and credible than optimistic ones. He argues that pessimism grabs attention because it sounds smarter, feels more urgent, and aligns with our natural tendency to avoid loss. Housel notes that bad news is immediate and dramatic, while progress is usually slow and less noticeable, making optimism harder to appreciate. He emphasizes that despite frequent setbacks, history shows consistent long-term growth and improvement. The chapter encourages readers to balance realism with optimism, understanding that fear sells but hope builds. Housel warns that being overly influenced by negative outlooks can lead to missed opportunities. Ultimately, he promotes a rational optimism rooted in long-term thinking and historical perspective.
Chapter 18. When You'll Believe Anything, Morgan Housel explores how people are prone to believing flawed financial stories, especially during times of uncertainty or greed. He explains that when reality is complex or frightening, simple and emotionally appealing narratives often take over. These stories can distort judgment and lead to poor decisions, particularly in bubbles or market manias. Housel highlights that people crave explanations, even if they're inaccurate, because uncertainty is uncomfortable. He warns that catchy stories can override logic, especially when they promise quick wealth or safety. The chapter encourages skepticism and critical thinking, especially when something sounds too good to be true. Ultimately, Housel urges readers to recognize the power of narrative in finance and to stay grounded in facts rather than emotional tales.
Chapter 19, Altogether Now, Morgan Housel brings together the key lessons from the previous chapters, emphasizing that good financial behavior is more important than raw intelligence. He explains that successful money management depends on a mix of humility, patience, adaptability, and emotional control. Housel reminds readers that personal finance is deeply personal. There's no one-size-fits-all solution, and understanding one's own goals, temperament, and circumstances is crucial. He stresses the importance of saving consistently, being realistic about expectations, and maintaining a long-term mindset. The chapter reinforces that small, smart decisions over time compound into meaningful results. Housel encourages readers to build financial strategies that align with their values rather than trends. Ultimately, the chapter ties everything together, promoting a grounded, thoughtful, and behavior-driven approach to money.
Chapter 20, Confessions. Morgan Housel shares his personal financial beliefs and practices, offering transparency about how he manages his own money. He admits that while some of his choices may not be optimal by textbook standards, they align with his values, priorities, and comfort level. Housel emphasizes that personal finance is exactly that, personal, and it's okay to make decisions that provide peace of mind over maximizing returns. He prioritizes independence, flexibility, and low stress over chasing the highest possible profits. This chapter reinforces the book's core message that behavior and mindset matter more than mathematical precision. Housel's candid confessions serve as a reminder that there's no universal right way to handle money. Ultimately, he encourages readers to make financial choices that support their own version of a meaningful life.
The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel ends with a powerful lesson. Financial success is more about behavior than intelligence. Qualities like patience, humility, and emotional control often matter more than formulas or predictions. Housel emphasizes that our financial choices are shaped by personal experiences and evolving goals, making everyone's journey unique. He highlights the importance of consistent saving, preparing for life surprises, and maintaining a long-term perspective. The book urges us to stay flexible and avoid getting caught up in short-term noise or pessimism. In the end, true wealth is defined not just by money, but by the freedom and peace of mind to live life on your own terms.
That wraps up The Psychology of Money, a reminder that true wealth is about mindset, not just money. Up next is The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho, a beautiful story about dreams and destiny. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe to support the channel. Let's keep learning and growing one book at a time. See you in the next video.